All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I'm TechMan16.
And I'm Handy.
Kirk, you here?
No, Kirk.
No, Kirk.
No, Kirk. I'm the new Kirk.
And Kirk's lurking. That's awesome.
Kirk's lurking.
It's called Kirking.
It's called Kirking. Yeah, instead of lurking, it's Kirking. Oh my god.
Very nice.
Anyways, today we have CaptDrex with us from IMM. How you doing, Drex?
Not too shabby. I'm about to do the true millennial thing and head out to brunch here in a few with my parents, so my daughter can hang out with them. So I'm feeling like I need to grow a top bun.
Why is that? Why is brunch a millennial thing? I thought brunch has been around for decades.
Ever?
Yeah, but it's just been co-opted, by the millennials. Those darn millennials. Yeah.
Oh, because they can't be bothered to wake up early.
Avocado toasts and bellinis.
I just know from people in the restaurant business, and I wish Cook was here. Brunch is just a way to charge like $15 for 3 eggs. That's
He's
what
not
brunch
wrong.
is for. Anyways, man, we got a little bit of buzz from the last podcast between IMM and MBD, and I want to kind of right a wrong here, because on the last podcast we kind of made it out that the conflict is strictly IMM-MBD, but that's not the case. It seems that you guys have been fighting BOLD and MBD at the same time, and now I gather that it's mainly been BOLD. And can you speak to when BOLD got into the war, and how much of the, I guess, heavy lifting are they doing?
Yeah, so the first time around, the conflict was fairly short, a brief thing. It was a dry hit, and that was all over like a Photoshop, and y'all covered that with Seventh last time. And we righted that wrong pretty quick. And then, gosh, I don't even remember what happened at that point to instigate the second one. Kim was out there hunting OPL. It hit a Franklin and collected some frequency modulators. Y'all covered that too. And right about that time, that's when the inversion happened. And so, it was primarily MBD on the front. We were talking to Epi and Medic to resolve the first time around. The OPL Franklin was hit. They didn't like that, even though it's ROE. And then BOLD got conscripted. And so we started noticing too, well, why is it that that Mud and J0 and a few others from MBD had just like jumped over to BOLD? And I started asking myself this question: if both of them are in both alliances, what's the division then? And I've never gotten a clear answer. So it feels like to me, BOLD was just kind of like, I don't know, part of the MBD world or vice versa, and they've merged, and now it doesn't really matter which tag's hitting, but if we're going by tags alone, it seems like BOLD has really been doing a lot of the heavy lifting. We post up all of our screenshots of all the battles, and I did some counting, and it's about 75% lopsided BOLD to MBD. And I guess they're out there in their territory or whatever, because we haven't been able to find a whole lot. They've kind of like pulled themselves back and let BOLD do all the fighting for us. Even whenever we get our stations hit, or our miners are out there, it's usually a BOLD tag that hits.
So I know that they were allies, and they've been allied for a while, but I didn't know that it was like kind of an extension, like what happens to you happens to me kind of deal. Yeah. I know in Dark we have our sister alliance, and usually we help defend, but we don't, if they're in a war, we don't get involved in like the war part of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've experienced too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I gotta say, I don't know of any other alliances that work that way. Like, I know when one of our, I mean, even when SNA was like, we were very close to SNA. Even when they were like getting into wars and stuff, we never got involved.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, we've experienced kind of a lot of like alliance, our allies have just kind of like stepped aside, and it's actually a lot of it's coming right back to that territory. But I've got my own sticks against the territory stuff. It's kind of thrown a wrench into a lot of like inter-alliance relationships. And so I was thinking maybe like that had something to do with it, that MBD is allied with one of our allies out there in TC, and so they're just kind of like keeping their hands off, and Bold isn't. But if they've got these people who are just like going back and forth, and it's just kind of fluid, yeah, it's puzzling to say the least.
So I want to read something that a Bold member wrote as a comment on the last podcast, just because I think it was very enlightening to read, actually. And the comments up on episode 33, but I'm just going to read it here anyway. It's from I don't know who it is, but the YouTube name is Chris Bro. Good name. He writes, as a Bold member, I can't help but to feel how this podcast slightly minimizes a lot of issues with the war and what keeps it going on. First and foremost, the issues with IMM having effective leadership could have only been exacerbated by removing the majority of their commodores during the first agreement. Forcing them to do it so there is an individual punishment lacks foresight. We literally made it harder for IMM to build internal supporting consensus for peace. This made reigniting the war almost inevitable. IMM lacking effective leadership was a core underlying issue that started this whole thing, and removing what little they had seemed silly. Bold is in the scrap with MBD just as much as MBD is, and both of us are two top 10 alliances smacking IMM around. Bold is also bigger than IMM than MBD. So the discrepancy is even greater than is being relayed here. While I have no personal problem with Mud, you can't just minimize his trolling IMM like he did and does. That has as much a part to play in it as anything else IMM probably did. Also, in the end, suggesting that IMM just stop hitting and let Bold and MAD push their shit in for a while until we get bored is silly. We all go to our corners, or none of us do. Honestly, for the size of IMM, I have to say they have put up one hell of a fight, and I got mad respect for their fortitude because of that. If we want to end this conflict, let's just say fuck it, end it now. Everyone agreed to set the other side friendly for a minimum of 1 month, and officers spank shit talkers and allow for a few mistakes. So I thought that was kind of
extremely eloquent.
Yeah, with the exception of the fucking part.
I want to know that person's
oh shit, it's Kirk.
Handle. Yeah, I still reserve the right to jump in here every now and then, Dick.
Welcome, brother. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, well, kirking? Yeah, I was kirking. No, I've been here pretty much the whole time. You guys just don't pay attention.
Oh, well.
Well, you jump in sporadically.
Well, I'm here for the long haul, so shut the fuck up and keep going.
Anyways, Drex, how do you respond to that? I mean, that was probably an awesome, kind of an awesome praise for you guys for the fight you've been putting up.
Yeah, mad thanks to Chris Bro. I totally could be my Chris Bro. I love hearing stuff like that, and I was actually that speaks to my next point. Throughout all of this, I've been talking to Jace Zero, Biohazard. I've been talking to Colin Brown, and quite a few other members from both alliances. And hell, like one of them is we're going to start up a Jelly of the Month club because I mean, why the hell not? That's totally an inside joke. Shout out to you, Bio. I think all of us, or I think the majority of us on all sides, all three alliances, are really just kind of taking a look at this and going, y'all, this is stupid. like what does war actually mean in STFC? Right? We don't have body counts that just continue to stack because we auto spawn after repairing. Immortals, we're not going anywhere. We got a great solid group of friends, so we're not going to disband. And so, like, the expectation to do so on either side is just ridiculous. And the last little part that Chris Bro has put in there is exactly what we had just drawn up for our peace accord. And the peace accord is now currently sitting in Epi's hands, and we're waiting to see his thoughts. And it's essentially kind of a look, we're not going to hit each other for like 120 days. Everyone's set to friendly status to avoid anything. We're restructuring our leadership, because I honestly like taking a look at all this and hearing what Epi and y'all had to say. Like last week, we were like, you know what, we do have areas for improvement. So let's just take a look at where we need to improve, and that's kind of like the goal now. That's a really positive thing that's come out of this is that Immortals have grown together tighter as a group, and we've made some new connections and new friends and alliances that should be at war with us. So, it's not all bad. It really isn't. And I really just kind of hope that with this peace accord, we can just kind of move past it.
Hey, Chemsol, how you been?
Hey, good. How are you?
What's up,
Awesome,
Kim?
man. Thanks for joining. Who's now?
Thank you.
who's
Sorry.
Now, it's all right. Chemsol's now, doing the particle exchange at dark, so he's got a new perspective on life.
Oh, yeah.
Are you keeping your particles in the fanny pack that Dark gave you?
In a little bit, yeah.
I think Chemsol is overwhelmed with all the armadas that we ran in the past 24 hours.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. We can't keep up with that.
Don't get me started on armadas.
Oh, don't worry, Handy. We'll get into that. Too bad we don't have KJ around. Then you could verbally spar on the armadas. Anyway, so that's a good look at things, Drex, on the fact that out of the podcast came a positivity of okay, look at the things that we can improve on, and hopefully the relations keep improving with both MBD and Bold, or rather MBD doesn't seem to be doing much of the work anymore. So the relations with Bold anyway. Drex.
But did you die though?
Me or him?
Him. He just muted and then unmuted.
I don't know.
I think maybe he's not able to speak at the moment. Try exiting the chat and coming back in.
Well, I guess while we wait to figure that stuff out, how the hell have you guys been?
Excellent.
Awesome.
How about you, Kirk?
Really learning what it's like to get into the higher levels and how much it really actually sucks. Although the new, I do have to say, the one thing that Scopley's done here recently that's made it's pretty awesome is the new swarm probes. You can actually get some decent RSS for it. That's not bad.
Yeah, I'm really upset that they started it off with costing uncommon. And now everybody with these mountains of uncommon directives, we're like, yes, finally a place that we can spend them. And then Scopley just yanked it away from us.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, though, you can still, if you do your dailies and you use that Franklin A, you can still get enough of those to cash in like one or two different things per day. You don't even have to run the freaking armadas.
Fair enough. I think Drex is back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It happens.
Yeah.
The particles got exchanged out of my phone.
Right. The fanny pack broke.
Fanny pack broke all over the floor.
Man, I don't know if you guys caught DJs, but man, he was so livid about this new arc. I mean, he went so far negative that he started to sound like me.
It's pretty pathetic. Last arc too. I mean, it feels like they're not putting any time or thought into these things at all.
Oh no,
Not
no,
even
no.
a little bit.
I think they're putting in the correct amount of thought into how to scam people out of their money. That's exactly what they're putting there.
Well, that's a very good point.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I have to disagree. I mean, I think that like I said, like I was just talking about, the stuff with the Franklin, with the new bio minerals or whatever it is, the new ones. I mean, those are pretty cool. If you do your dailies and you collect those, I mean, I'm getting like 200-300 million par steel if I cash it in. I'm getting like almost 10 million dilithium when I cash it in.
That's true.
I mean, at that part, yeah. I guess because I'm so used to being scope lead every arc, that I'm so used to it, that if just one thing is good, I'm super happy about it, which is kind of sad, but
fair enough.
Just the way the cookie crumbles. At least I can do something with it.
How long did it take to build the Franklin again? Like 56 days?
Yeah, it's something astronomical. It's pretty ridiculous, and it's supposed to be a G4 ship, is what it says, but then it takes G3 materials, and I'm not quite getting it. And then you can get it at 35, but you can't increase the warp range until you get like up into the 30s or something to complete those missions, to get those the warp engine particles or whatever the hell it is. So I can imagine for people in the mid to high 30s, it's pretty damn frustrating.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, because I can't. I'm 33. I can't hit this because I need like what, warp 85 or warp 90 to go to those places with the new swarms.
Yep. But the I think right off the rip it's like warp 75 or warp 80. Like as soon as you build it, so it's decent. But yeah, I mean to really get up into like the level 41s and stuff like that, the higher level ones, you really need to get into the low 40s to get your warp engine upgraded.
So for somebody who's level 35 and just building the Franklin A, or as Inco calls it, the POSA, you really can't do much with it.
I mean, it's better. You'll definitely be able to kill more swarm, like regular swarm, with it. So it'll be more efficient than the Franklin, obviously. But it's one of those things. I was talking about it with someone else. I might have even been talking about it with you, Handy. But it's there for the longest time. They were really focused on everything being kind of lower level, in the mid to high 20s is what they were focused on. So it's kind of nice being a higher level. I think I'm at 41 now. It's kind of nice seeing things that are targeted toward the higher levels. So it's something that can actually benefit us.
True.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to act bougie or whatever the verbiage is, but it's kind of nice for someone who's put the time and obviously money and effort into getting that high to actually have something that's marketed towards us.
Very good point.
All right, gang, I want to talk about the daily activity that we all have to go through. And at some point, it just becomes, for me, overwhelming, all the things that you have to do just to keep up on a daily basis. Now, mind you, you don't have to do all these activities. It's just, I'm going to talk about my dailies and then what I'd like to call, quote unquote, hidden dailies. Because if you don't do them, you fall further and further behind.
Actually, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and just say thank you very much. I'm headed to go spend $15 on 3 eggs, and I do appreciate all of this.
Hey, no problem. You guys are welcome to stop by
Don't forget
anytime.
the mimosas.
Oh, hey,
Yeah, the mimosa.
real quick, Drex. The agreement, I wanted to ask you before we kind of moved on because you could cut out, but the agreement that you have, so you wrote it up, you put it in Epi's hands.
Yep.
And essentially, from what I read out of it, it's, hey, everybody move to their corners, leave each other alone for 90 days, and then we can just go back to business as usual. I mean, is there anything else you want to add or elaborate on the deal?
Well, we've got some internal things that we have explicitly in the Accord, and that I don't want to air our dirty laundry, but yeah, there's some internal working stuff, some hierarchical uh, deals that we're going to be kind of looking into. Chem is currently in dark right now, and collecting those particles. There's some other reasons around that too, and I think Chem can probably speak a little bit more deeply than I can on all that. The Accord was put together by one Octopod. He's one of our conflict resolution gurus on our side. Like his job is specifically to do that sort of stuff. And we're like, where has this talent been this entire time, Octo? Yeah, but he's done an incredible job, like piecing together kind of what's been in the treaties in the past, and putting them into stuff in the future. My whole hope, or my hope is that once the time is up, where we can move everyone back to neutral status, is that we're going to be riding this high. Continue to make the connections that we've had, positive connections that we have with the members of BOLD and MBD. And anything in the future, we've got a very clear like demotion structure now put up, and I think he's seen that as well, and kind of like the guidelines on who to kick, how to kick, and when. And
Right.
yeah.
What about your lead chair? What about your admiral spot? What's going on there?
Well, Get's still our admiral. I like the guy. We all like the guy.
I like the guy too. He just has been really busy. Is he more available now, or?
Yeah, it seems like it. He's been in Discord a lot more. He's popped in. Maybe things are starting to really calm down for him, and I really hope that for him, because I know he's had a rough go this year.
Yeah. No, I've talked to him a lot.
Definitely.
I hope it's obvious, he has the support of his alliance. I just remember from talking to him that he had felt that the alliance had kind of let him down. And that he was trying to make peace the last time and kind of got undercut. Whether it was a failure of communication or not, I don't know. But we spoke about it at length, and anyway, so I was just curious how you felt about that and what you guys were doing to rectify it.
Sure.
And if you don't feel like speaking to it, I understand it's a little bit personal.
Yeah. And Get's he's a really great guy, and so I can see how he kind of internalizes a lot of this stuff. And if he doesn't share with us openly what he's feeling, that's up to him, of course. But I can say he does have our full support. He's had our full support from start to finish, and I can't imagine restructuring, because if y'all have been watching Immortals for a while, I've been in Immortals since for about a year and a half now, and so I've seen quite a few changes. I was there when Axe was there, and when Shep took over temporarily, and so Get in all honesty, I think has driven the Immortal bus, not unlike Keanu Reeves, without the bomb underneath we've been going 50 miles per hour, but it's because we've been able to he's been able to help us sustain that. We've seen immense growth. I think he's got a good eye for who's been up in the Commodore positions. So I really sometimes a good leader is someone who just kind of steps back and allows the people underneath them or her to really help grow and trust us.
I completely agree with you. Absolutely. Well said.
All right. Well, I do appreciate y'all. Yeah, I've got my wife looking at me. I'm ready for my martini. I'm ready for the martini. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, y'all too. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks, Drex.
Handy, that's a good point you brought up, talking about people being busy. Just a quick side note, something that people often overlook, as this game is strictly just a game. At what point do you, when you become more busy, where you got to work more, or your business takes off, or you got more personal stuff? At what point, if you're in a position of leadership, or where people are relying on you to make decisions, at what point do you pass that on and kind of step back and pass that on to someone else who has the time? You know what I mean?
I mean, I would think that as long as you can just check your Discord a few times a day just to make sure shit's not blowing up, or at the very least have a very clear chain of command. I think every large alliance, depending on how many active players you have, for every active 10 players or so, you should have a very solid support staff. So if you've got 80 players, you should probably have a good 7, 8 comms that are all capable of handling stuff, and have a clear second in command that can make decisions as an admiral when the admiral is not around. And
we have seen though, where, I mean, we've seen it, and I'm gleaning from some of these issues that we're having here, is that you'll have someone that will kind of speak for the whole group, and then they come back, and somebody comes back from being busy, and then all of a sudden, well, that's not the case. Now we're going back on it, and then that's just kind of taking you 3 or 4 steps further back. And
well,
I think that's kind of the issue. It's like, you make this decision, and then somebody comes in and goes, no, I don't agree with that, we're going to go back on it. Well, at that point, I mean, the decision's kind of already been made, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of, to me, it's just, if I'm running a group, and I say, if I'm the admiral, and I say, Handy, I got a lot of stuff going on, I got all these clients I got to deal with, I want you to take care of it, and then I leave, and then I come back in, I'm like, all right, what happened? And you're like, well, this is what I did. Well, to me, it's like, well, okay, well, you did it your way. I don't like that, but oh well, that's the direction we're going. Rather than, no, we're not doing that at all. I'm gonna completely undermine everything that I told you that you are capable of doing, and I'm gonna do a 180.
Well, that's just wrong. If any admiral tries to, to roll back what his comm did when he's, okay, so if an admiral tells the comm, hey, or at least if it's implied that, hey, handle stuff when I'm not around, and if they don't have your back, then you just have a failure of leadership, then you obviously either need to, you need to rethink who your comms are as an admiral. Like if you have people under you that aren't like-minded and aren't handling things the way you like, then you should change your leadership up. I know that's a hard thing to do, but it's the reality of things, Like, I gotta believe if Inko didn't agree with how I handle myself, that he would tell me to stop. And he has before, very, very rarely, but he has once or twice in the, in the past.
Well, there have been examples. I've talked to Inko, and I can't. I mean, severe ADHD here. I can't recall exactly what it was, but I do know, talking to him, talking about what you do. He said there have been a couple times where, not that he's been upset about it, but that, like, he's been busy or away. Right. Yeah, he was like, I would have done it different, but he said that he handled it the way that he handled it, and even if I disagree with it, it's too late now. We've already done it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. It's over. Like, this is the way we're going, because that's just kind of the way it is. And I've just noticed that in a lot of these other alliances, there doesn't seem to be that kind of, well, I may disagree with it, but this person's in this position for a reason, and I can't undermine them. This is just the direction that we have to go.
Right, just like anytime Inko does something, I always have his back, regardless if I agree. And that's what a good command structure looks like. Is everybody's got each other's backs, regardless if they're right, wrong, or if you agree or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whoever's online and willing to handle the issue, they do it as, they do it how they see fit, and also keeping in mind what's best for the alliance. And on top of that, also taking into account what they think the admiral would do or what their desires are. And I always try and approach it that way. Like, what would Inko do? Or You know what I mean? So if like I know my admiral, I've been in NONA a long time, so I know typically how he's going to react to a situation. So I try and stay within those bounds. And I would encourage any alliance to kind of try and do the same. Either get like-minded people, in leadership, and if you're bumping heads like that, where your admiral's coming in and walking everything back that you're doing, then you probably shouldn't be a comm, or there needs to be better communication there, or something. Something's got to change. Because
Right.
I don't think anybody should come in and walk back what their comm did. I mean, if they're a commander, then they should be backed up, and if they're not, then they shouldn't be a commander. If they're
That's
doing
my
things.
thoughts exactly. I just didn't, I didn't want to dominate like the whole thing. It's just, it seems to me that I've just been kind of watching. Obviously, I've been taking kind of a back seat these days. I've had my business has taken off. I got a lot of clients now and everything. So I've been more
Which in your
watching.
position, it's actually beneficial to take a step back and see things with a clearer perspective if you're not playing a lot.
Right.
It's almost from the outside looking in, sometimes you can see things more clearly. So
Well, yeah, it's just there are admirals. I'm not going to mention names, but there are admirals that are in a similar position as far as the being busy and real life and stuff as me. But it seems like they're not acknowledging the fact that maybe you should just fade back and just be a player at this point, because you don't really have the time to dedicate to the intricate political structure that we've created here in this server. So,
I mean, it's got to be a tough decision, because as an admiral, 9 times out of 10, most of your players are going to want you to stay admiral.
Right? Yeah.
Like if you've been an admiral for a long time and you have your players' support, you've built a community, and it's very difficult for people to let go of what's comfortable. You know what I mean? And typically people are an admiral for a reason. They have the respect of their players. And if that's not the case, then, you definitely need to step down. But, even an absentee admiral, as long as you have good commodores in place, it shouldn't be an issue, even when you're busy. As long as you have good comms, then things will keep running smoothly, even when the admiral's not around. I don't think it's a problem. But if you have one of those alliances where your admiral takes care of everything, and he keeps everything together, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and you don't have people to step up, or nobody's willing to step up, that's a big problem.
Yeah, that was the only thing I wanted to touch on. So anyway, I wanted to discuss that with you, especially you being in kind of the position you're in. I was a Commodore in a major alliance, and when I was in most, and Grazi did a fantastic job of holding everything together. I mean, everybody likes him. He's pretty universally, he's a good guy. It's just I have seen that in. Yeah, absolutely,
but he has really good commodores in place. So when Grazi's busy, things still get done.
Yeah, and that's the way it needs to do. Lord knows he's a busy guy. But anyway, Tech, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to touch on that particular aspect.
No, that's fine. No worries. Yeah. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about the regular dailies and the hidden dailies that at least I have to do, and it's getting to be kind of annoying, really. So the regular dailies, right? You have power creep, which is you gain power through research in your station. Prime real estate, which is upgrading your station. Research, upgrading your research. Alliance solidarity, bunch of helps twice. You have your fortune finder, which is your 24-hour daily chest. Your 3 4-hour chests. You got to kill 5 hostiles of one level, 25 hostiles of another level. Mine G3 of any type. Kill, Federation, Romulan, and Klingon since I'm triple locked. Kill all these swarms. Mine, yeah, again, you don't have to do all these, but just the dailies available. Mine, crystal or gas. For me, the max is 25,000. And then the hidden stuff that that also gets in the way, and being in an alliance like Dark, where we have all three types of ISO, so I have to mine at least 64,600 1-star ISO per day, at least 132,600 2-star ISO per day, 163,400 3-star ISO per day. Let's see, the Borg Tech. I'm a tier 6 Vidar, so for a 1-chest refine, it's 40,000 nanoprobes. For a 2-chest, 210,000 for the charged nanoprobes. And then for the active nanoprobes, it's 11,000 for 1 chest, 65,000 for 2 chests, 180,000 latinum for a 2-chest refine, which is kind of easier now. And then I need 71,000 green data, 9,500 red data for the augment store, 55,000 green data for the scoundrel, or I'm a scoundrel in the rogue store, and then 12,000 of these keys to redeem rep and directives for the rogue store. So it's like, how at some point this becomes kind of like
overwhelming.
It becomes like a full-time job, like doing all these activities on a daily basis. And you know, how do people? I get it. So some people don't have the ability to mine ISO, right? So that kind of falls off. If you do have the ability, jump to an alliance that has the ability to do this. You can refine those particles. So you can do the research. But it's like this kind of becomes like a full-time job, or not like a full-time job, but like a part-time job to do all these activities a day. Because if you say, all right, I'm going to focus on the Vidar, for example, and I'm going to say screw everything else, well, now everything else suffers, right? A bunch of people are running eclipse armadas, a bunch of people are focusing on something else else may suffer, like
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm horrible at that.
Yeah, you do it anyway. It's all right.
I know, I'm awful. So how long does it take you to do all this? Like, if you were to do everything possible, how long does it take you, do you think?
I would say, I don't know, like 4 to 6 hours, maybe.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the same. Yeah.
Depending on the main events, I think I can usually get everything done within a couple hours of play.
So the one thing that I will say as far as that, it's like they're always releasing something new, which is kind of nice. When they came out, they're like, oh, we're coming out with the new Franklin, and I'm like, oh Jesus. But luckily that doubles as doing the dailies as the old Franklin, so they kind of overlap. So it's like, okay, it was not really one more thing to do, right? But I think at this point, and I'll speak to right now because I've taken more of a back seat in the game. I still play every day. I still get the daily events. I do the battle pass, and I still do stuff. But what I do is I will pick one thing per day, for the most part, sometimes two, and I'll just hit it really hard. And so, like, for example, the rogue keys, the little keys that you exchange in the store, I'll just sit there on a Saturday or Sunday night with my wife while we're watching a movie or TV with my iPad open, and I'll just grind those for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and I'll just get a few 100,000 of them. So that way it's covered for, a week or whatever. And then the next day I may do, okay, well, I need G3 mats to refine, and at this point I have prime refine on all three, so I just do the 1750 per day, which stretches it out, right? So I'm looking at efficiency here, and I'll just mine a bunch of stuff in one day, and then the next day I'll mine a bunch of ISO. So instead of doing everything every day, I just pick one thing and I just try to knock it out of the park, so I don't have to worry about that thing for another week or two.
Which
And I think at
is
this
the
point,
only. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
no. And I think you were going to say, which is pretty much the only way to do it efficiently, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And I've noticed that, especially now when you start getting into, and as I said earlier, I'm starting to learn now firsthand a lot of the higher level issues. The points that I have to accrue to complete certain things, like the events. It's a lot more. It used to be on some of the hostile hunts, I could go kill like 2 capital trader ships, and then that was it. Well, now it's up to like I'm having to kill 10 or 12, and it's having to fight people to try to race to get them as they're popping up because I can't kill a heavy yet. Stuff like that. It's just you basically just have to start doing one thing per day and just hit it really hard, and then just shift your focus every other day of the week to something else. And sometimes you just have to neglect certain things for time. Like rogue armadas, I do them once every couple weeks, but I do them back to back to back to back to back, and I try to get as many of those things as I can. It's how it has to happen.
Right. I mean, I'm curious if the rest of you do the same, because that's how I've always done the game. Like anything that takes a lot of time, like let's say Borg probes. Like I only really do it like once every 3-4 days or something, or maybe once a week. It just kind of depends on how many of them I grind at that time. But I'll do it all in one sitting, right? So I might do Borg probes for an hour, and then I go do all my other little dailies, and there's my 2 hours. And then any other gameplay I put in is just dicking around, running armadas or whatever.
Oh, that's the other thing I didn't even mention, the armadas. No, my issue is I only want to do things that I get a return for that are a pressing need. So
Sure.
I've ignored Rogue forever. I've ignored the Vidar forever because
Really?
that's yeah, because it doesn't give me that daily return of what I put into it.
The research is incredibly important, though. I mean, that's where all the research is, all the important research. It gives you really good buffs to make everything else easier. That's why I only spend 2 hours where you spend 6, because I've put time in on those extra things to get all the research done to make my ships way more efficient, and now I can get everything done really fast. At least that's my view on it.
That's part of it, right? So, how do I explain this? Like the research I get, right, makes you stronger, more efficient, whatever. It's not the immediate need, or it's not the immediate return I see by killing, say, 25 Klingon traders, where I get more Federation credits, so I could purchase my Enterprise. That's not.
I feel like that's short-sighted, though.
It depends how you play the game, right? So short-sighted versus long-term, right? I'm trying to get a better ship so I could do more grinding, because yay, grinding. As opposed to, like for example with the rogue stuff, right? We have in Dark, we have enough people in Dark where, I have to, like if I have to do rogue armadas, I actively have to go to people and be like, can I get a star? 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 It's not like I could just start a rogue armada and just forget about it because I don't have the credits or the directives, because you can only get them at a certain interval.
Now,
right? And especially,
sorry, I was going to say I do really appreciate that. I mean, I see the mid to lower guys in our alliance have an extremely difficult time getting into armadas in general. And because of not being able to get into them, very often they don't get a lot of directives, right? So it makes it very difficult. They're having a lot of trouble getting the directives to start them on their own, and then they have to beg for a star, and they don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So it gets really tough. So I don't know about the rest of our larger players, but like when I'm running these armadas, I always try and at least star one lower player.
So to that point, right? The armada part. You have to go in with a stella, and first you have to beg for some bigs to hit the rares, because my stumbling block is the rares. I can never get enough rare uranium, because that is the bottleneck. So I refine whatever it is, 1,700 every 3 days or every 5 days, because I don't have enough of the whatever rare points. And it's like, to upgrade one component on the Stella is just, and like it was like 6,000, I think, for one of the guns for tier 5 or something to go to tier 6. I mean, I've been stuck on that for like 3 months. And so if I'm going to waste a ship running from armada to armada trying to get a star, that ship is useless to me to doing all my other dailies that actually give me something back, you know? And so, you know, so it becomes a how much active. I mean, nobody wants to be active the entire length of any armada. Period. You know, I mean, just to sit there to watch for 7 minutes or 15 minutes, looking at your screen, going, "Oh my God, look how many people are coming! All right, there's 8 people, and they're all level 39. Here's a 42. Here's a 46. The leader's not responding to me in PM. Oh shit, I gotta reset my other miner. Oh crap. Oh, he didn't respond to me in time. The armada blew up."
The other elephant in the room is that you also have to factor in people who's spending what money, right? So, like, for example, I remember when the Stellas first came out, and the first time they dropped the packs where you could buy the uranium and all that. I mean, you had people that had instantly maxed out Stellas when really it should have taken them closer to a month to max it. You know, and so what happens then? Now they're guaranteed a slot in every armada. So now they're getting more stuff. So now they're able to scrap and build quicker. And what does that do? It just creates more of a gap between people who are not spending the money on it and the people who are. And it's not everything, but at the end of the day, that plays a huge factor. It's just like, you know, somebody going to the gym and lifting weights completely natural versus somebody on steroids. Like, obviously there's going to be a huge performance gap there. So that's another one of the issues. You know, if they come out with a pack in the store and you get somebody that drops $500 on a day, well, now they're 3 tiers ahead of you, and it's going to take you 3 months, you know, to be able to catch up to them, because you're just getting bumped out of every armada. And, you know, like he was saying, you know, a lot of the times some of these people are running armadas for hours at a time. Most of us don't have that kind of time to sit there on the phone or on the tablet or on BlueStacks and just watch the screen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken. Ken?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
No, I was agreeing. I'm not someone that usually pays for things, and it is. I feel that. I agree with the analogy with the steroids and everything, and yeah, it's a grind.
Right. So in my gameplay, I avoid things where, you know, unless I have enough stuff done, then I could participate or try to participate in the armadas, because, you know, I'm not doing anything else, right? Because otherwise I would use that ship that I use for the armadas to go grind hostiles or probes or, you know, swarms. So it takes away from gameplay to try and get everything done, especially at a mid tier level. And that's kind of the problem I have. It's just there's so much to do, and I can only get so much done before I could think about things like rating. You know, I mean, I'm to a point where I got a lot of stuff to do, and it's like if somebody cracks a base, it's like, all right, I don't got time for that. Like, I don't got time to sit there and hit my miners for like 3-4 hours to get a billion par steal. That's just unreasonable to do with all the other stuff that either has to be done or provides a better return. I'm not a night owl here that could just sit and not sleep through the night and just raid somebody for hours on end. I mean, that's just
that's where your time investment comes in, right?
I am.
It's like that's where it comes down to. I feel exactly what you're saying. It's one of the reasons why I don't do rogue armadas unless I'm running them, because I'm wasting a ship slot that I could use for mining or whatever. And I have 5 slots, so it's not that big of a deal now, but I'm wasting the time that I am in the game when I could get other things done, and I know that I could accomplish something, rather than showing up to 5 armadas in 20 or 30 minutes and not getting a star. It's just, at this point, it's a waste of time. So what do? Well, I rely on myself, me, myself, and I. So I wait until I have the directives to run them, because at least I know that I will get a guaranteed slot. So I don't even waste time with it at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy how much of a time suck they are.
I mean, I think the best way to approach an armada is to just send it and forget it. Like, you click the join and go about with what you're playing. I mean, and if you know you're got a 50-50 shot of getting in to the armada, great, just leave it. If you're somebody who usually doesn't get in, probably shoot a quick PM to whoever started it, ask him for his star. If you get it, great. If you don't, whatever, just continue on with your gameplay.
The strategy that I've been doing now is that at this point in the game, I have all 3 epic ships. I have the jellyfish, and there's no other ships you can get from epics and rares. So at this point, I know rogue armadas are one thing, but other armadas, I don't show up to rares anymore, really. And I every now and then I'll show up to an epic, because, like I said, at this point, the only thing I'm going to get is a little bit of mats and maybe some speed ups. And really, that's not that big of a deal. So at this point, like a lot of these people that are in the super high levels that are showing up to every rare they're running and kicking everybody, to me, it's like, well, you already have all the epic ships. You already have the jellyfish. You already have anything else you could get from there. And especially in a rare, the rewards aren't all that great. So, I mean, why are you even showing up? To me, it's just, I have like 2,000 rare directives because I just stopped doing rares because I don't really need them. So it for me, and I'm not, everybody's going to do whatever they want to do, but for me, it's a way to allow, if I don't show up with my 4.5-5 million jellyfish, then that's one less bigger ship that'll boot somebody who really does need these directives, maybe who's free to play, that's trying to get this augur or enterprise blueprints or whatever they're pulling from the rare chests. So
yeah,
just something to think about.
I don't join epic armadas anymore. Just the regular epic armadas. I never join them because I'm sitting on a pile of rewards. So I typically don't send to them unless I think they need my ship to win.
Yeah, I don't think I've been in an epic, not that I can recall, for about a month and a half or 2 months. And I still have like 30 or 40,000 tokens that I can exchange. So it's just, I try not to do that. I think about people who are a little bit lower level, who are trying to kind of come up. There's no point for me to do it because, the speed ups are great, but at this point I have hundreds of thousands of platinum, so I don't even need it.
Right. And that's just the need over greed. I mean, people should really ask themselves, do I really need this? Or are you just doing it to do it? You know what I mean? I think everybody should ask themselves that. And if you don't think you need it, then don't take it from one of your teammates that really does.
Yeah, I need those epic blueprints. Me,
Exactly.
right here.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The thing is that people seem to forget that, and nothing against anyone, so I don't want anybody to misinterpret this, but, your team is only as strong, just like a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, right? So if you have somebody who's a much lower level, that brings your average power, your average ability down. So what you should be trying to do is you want your whole team to succeed. you present a more powerful front, and you're able to get shit done, So that stretches across the board. Like here recently, one of the issues I've seen being run into is that these 5-minute swarm armadas, I went to start one the other night, and nobody showed up. Like, no one. And the thing is, if more people had more powerful ships, that's more people to pull from that can show up to my armada and help me. You see?
Absolutely.
Wait, which armada was it? Eclipse or was it a regular?
No, it was a swarm one. It was a swarm armada.
Oh,
No,
swarm.
Let me tell you something. People in this game are Eclipse Armada hoes, is what they are. Okay, because you run an Eclipse Armada, I will mail you $100 if you can run an Eclipse Armada and someone else doesn't show up and you end up doing it by yourself. Like, because the whole team will show up. It's like feeding a bunch of stray dogs. Like everybody's showing up. But I went to go run one of those other armadas. I think the problem with the
swarm armadas is it takes too long. If you're down in territory capture zone, you're not getting there on time.
Oh, you're not going to make it. Yeah, no, and those
exactly.
Franklin,
so now you have to summon.
Slow.
You have to summon if you're going to make it to those frickin' things.
And the bitch of it is the only way that you can summon is if you have the warp range, which you have to be in the 40s to be able to get to warp 8. So, right. Or even 75, and if you're not, and like I say, if you're not ready for it, then it's like, well, crap, now I got to switch my ship to this, and then I got to put the summon crew on there, and then I got to summon to Sialu or wherever, and then I got to try to make it in time, and it's a lot of people just don't bother with it, and like I say, there you go, it's 100 rare directives lost, but like I said, back to my original point, if more people had more powerful ships, or if more people were higher level, that's more to pull from the availability of people showing up. Because I've had people show up that would swear to God they weren't going to do any damage. Like I had somebody show up, I kid you not, with a freaking Mayflower to an epic armada. They sent like an 8 or 900k Mayflower, and I guarantee you the only reason we won is because they showed up. So That's just one example, but that's the thing. I guess it's just touching on the greed part. Like at the end of the day, if you've got the ability to build 5 enterprises, why are you going to a rare armada?
Unless it's for support.
Habit or greed. Or if you think they need your power to win. And a lot of times these lower level players will actually PM our guys, are some of our big players. Like for example, I don't need to name people, but let's just say what ends up happening is these lower level guys don't know what it really takes to win the armada, right? So they end up asking all of our bigs to show up. Well, they're busy doing other things. So they send the ship and they show up, and now we have a regular level 38 rare, and we've got 20 million ships there that don't need to be there. And our level our level, our lower level guys don't want to knock them out of the armada because first off, they don't want to upset the bigs that they just called to the armada. So now you've got 20 million ships sitting in this freaking armada. You've got a whole bunch of lower level players there that aren't going to get in, and nobody wants to bump the larger level players. It's ridiculous. So anybody from NONA listening, look, just calculate how much power you need, and any of our big players, any of them, I don't care who they are, no matter what armada it is, just bump them. If you don't need their power to win, get as many lower level players in as you can, as long as you're sure that you can win without them.
That's universal.
The larger level players send their ships for support. Unless there's some kind of special event going on, you don't need to leave them in the armada, especially with regular armadas. Like any epic, rare, uncommon, like if we send, we're there for support. If it's Eclipse or Swarm, maybe we need the actual armada, maybe we don't. But chances are we have no issues getting into these on a regular basis. So if you star out a larger player, it's not going to hurt their feelings It's not going to upset them because they get in all the freaking time anyways. All they have to do is click join and go about their day. And 99% of the time, they're going to get in.
Yeah, rule of thumb, you need 1/3 of the power of the Armada to win. So if you're running if you're 66 million, you need about 22 million, 23 million to actually win.
And if you don't know or you're not sure, just ask. There's probably 10 people online paying attention that could just tell you how much power you need to win. If you don't remember, it's not that big of a deal. Just ask. I mean, ask.
I think it's
your
pretty
AC.
universal too. When you start talking about people getting knocked out, it's just, you'll see it in our AC all the time where it's like, bump if you don't need me, bump if you don't need me. I'm just sending for help. And so,
see, people get tired of saying that too, so they stop saying it.
It should just be universally understood. I can tell you right now, if anybody is over, I would say level, 42, 43, whatever, even 41. If I send this, my ship to one of your armadas and you bump me, I'm not going to get upset. And that's pretty much universal for everyone. And if they do get upset, well, they can get right to hell bent, because it's let's be logical here. Like we were just discussing, you already have all the ships. You don't need any more. And the fact that you're that level at this point shows that you spend money. So people just need to calm down.
Absolutely.
All right, shall we skip out from that subject of basically having a part-time job of playing the game to the latest event that Handy and KJ have been going at it for 48 hours of nonstop eclipse armadas.
I will say this: KJ is a freaking machine.
Asshole. I'm just kidding.
That too. But he's a freaking machine.
Actually, KJ, I'm not, but KJ knows all of them, so
he's a pain in the ass. He won first place, and he won it fair and square. I mean, I was trying. I just couldn't keep up with him, man, anymore. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to sleep. I ain't losing sleep over this.
Well, we were talking about it earlier where, Handy, you were the only guy effectively running all the Eclipse Armadas, and then Dark was like hogging an entire system of
two systems. You guys had Midge and Lindstrom on lock.
Oh my god, guys, I'm looking at the freaking event, Return of the Mega Cube.
Really?
It's not what you think, though. But yeah,
it's a scavenger hunt again. It looks like, but
yeah. I thought we were gonna have to go hit the Mega Cube, which I really don't want to do. That was the worst failed arc ever. Anyway, back to this event. So yeah, but I mean, for everybody, I saw people literally spending the 48 hours. All they were doing was joining armadas, and they came in 10th. Like, this particular event had one of the biggest showings I've seen in a long time. Everybody wants this stupid Stella skin. And I literally had to have a conversation with myself last night. I was like, dude, I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, come on, man. Second place is fine. I'll get this fucking skin anyways. You know what I mean? And I'm like, just let KJ have it. I'm like, okay, fine. So last night I was like, I'm just gonna back off.
I think this is much more prevalent to a bigger overall issue with this game in general. We are spending our time and spending our money on useless junk like skins. And unfortunately, I don't know about you guys, but I don't even care that we have all these different bullets. I just don't. And the fact that you have a skin that may or may not increase damage, for somebody, Handy, for your level, it's not going to make that much a difference.
Oh, no, it's not going to make any difference at all. It's going to be no benefit at all. It's just going to turn my ship red. Ooh. I really wanted it, though. I don't know why. I can't even explain it. Logically, it's ridiculous. I shouldn't have wasted my time, but I wanted it. and I had already put in a bunch of time, so I kept going for it. It's like once you start investing that time, you're committed, right? So you just keep going. And last night, I just told myself, "Fuck it, dude. I don't care." And that's when I stopped. I said, "I give up. This is stupid."
Well, this speaks to a bigger problem, right? Here we are, you and KJ are going at it for 48 hours for a skin that has no benefit to anybody. And we keep spending our time and our money on stuff that is irrelevant to us in our quest to progress in the game. And it has to come to a head where we have to stop participating, like as a whole.
It'll never happen, though.
In all these events, no, it won't. But I'm just saying, I want to put it out there. Like in order for Scopley to get the message about, hey, stop
with the ridiculous bullshit.
Exactly. The only way that they'll figure that out is if everybody stops participating in these horrible, horrible events. But we're not going to see that. We're not going to. People are going to gripe all day long, but they're still going to complete that stupid Jayla event, right? I mean, the Impress Me event that we just recently had. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't believe people completed that. I mean, it was just. I
skipped a lot of them. I've skipped a shit ton of events this arc.
I started 2 armadas, and that was it. And I'm just like, I'm done. And people are like hogging all the rares and all the epics and whatnot. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, for what? For Jayla shards? I'm sorry. Like,
I skipped that too, man. I skipped that one too.
PMT. Let just use PMT. If you get Jayla, great. If not, just use your regular crew to kill swarms. It's not gonna kill you.
It's just officers in general. You got to understand that eventually you will get her. I mean, even if it takes 6 months to a year, eventually you'll get the fucking officer. So to have it a little bit earlier to like kill yourself and spend a crap ton of money is ridiculous.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt. It's about time for me to go on to work, but sorry I didn't talk too much. Sorry it was a little bit late on coming in. I didn't know if there's anything I can elaborate on anything else as far as the war going on or anything like that.
I think Drex was pretty good about it. So
okay,
yeah, he pretty much filled the same.
I trust he was.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah, man. So pulling for you guys to eventually get to peace and getting back to Mineville or Farmville or whatever.
Yeah, that's all we want, and hopefully this accord will help, and it's a starting point at least. And if we can follow it, if we can all follow it, we can hopefully at the end of that period of time we can get back together, see where everything's at, and try and go from there.
Sure, absolutely. Everybody from BOLD /MBD /IMM is always welcome to come on and talk about progress.
Yeah, no problem. And hopefully I'll be more talkative.
All right. Thanks, Chemsol.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, man.
See ya.
And I'm thinking to myself the whole time, God, don't speak anymore. Your sound quality is awful. Chemsol, when you listen to this later, I'm sorry, brother, but that was the worst sound quality I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, we've had some weird sound issues. Just check out some previous podcasts with Epi before he got his headphones. Like, dude would say something, and you're like, wait, what happened? Were you speaking?
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. Like I think maybe he was on Bluetooth
or probably he was on speaker, I would assume.
With like a $5 phone.
He was speaking through a water tank.
Yeah. And at full volume too. I think the phone was in his mouth actually. That's what it sounded like.
It was in his throat.
It's the Darth Vader kind of. I'm gonna put a tin can over my mouth and speak into the speakerphone.
Oh, that's awesome. Of course, we didn't tell him, so how would he know? But anyways.
Right. Well, he'll find out.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Mega Cube and Scopley events. Yeah, so the only way, I'll reiterate again, if anybody is, actively trying to help better the community as a whole, you just got to stop doing the events. You just have to and demand better. I mean, Kirk, we've talked about it multiple times. Why do people that play timelines complain less than people that play Star Trek Fleet Command? Timelines is run by a better company, obviously, but the gameplay itself, they focus on content for the game, and buying stuff is just a supplement to you playing the game, as opposed to nowadays that in Star Trek Fleet Command, it's all about how much can we get our players to spend, as opposed to let's improve gameplay. Otherwise, why would we still have all these lag issues that plague us?
Well, look at the recent packs they got. We're like, oh, look, now you can buy Harry Mudd for the low price of $400 or $500 or whatever it is. It's like, dude. First of all, I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care what any of you out there in STFC land think. I'm going to say this again. I have never ever lost to anyone that had Mudd. I've never lost to anyone that had what's his name? Harrison. I've never lost to anyone that had any of the Mudds. I have not lost to anyone notably or consistently that has Giorgio. So I know that you want to justify throwing a couple $100 at it, and that's fine. But I just need you to know that you know that I know that you know that we all know that you didn't really need it, and that secretly you're kind of upset that you did.
Yeah, they're low key bent for sure.
Yeah. You think you're going to get this great officer, and then the very, very few times are you going to come up on one of these officers that it's worth it to get.
And not to mention, even if they are incredible, Scopley's going to nerf it next month.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just
eventually,
saying.
they're going to we're going to patch some issues, but we're also going to make your money worth less.
That's one of their favorite things to do. Get you all excited about something and then nerf it.
What was the latest officer that got nerfed?
Oh, I don't know. They've done this so many times, and they do it. They do it on the low too. Like, they don't even really tell you. They'll just like sneak it into the patch, and they won't even put it as one of the bugs they've fixed. Or if they do, they'll say it in a general way, like fix an issue with some of the officers. And like, what? Like, what officers? What did you change? And then all of a sudden something's not working. And you're like, okay, that's freaking great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Scopley. That was fucking amazing.
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. But like I say, the new
the Chen thing.
Good.
I remember the Chen thing. Yeah, Chen got nerfed for only hostiles below level 50.
49. That's 49 and lower. Yeah.
Right.
49 and below. 49 and below.
Oh.
Which to most of us mere mortals doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah. Well, it affects me, but whatever.
Do you still use PMT or PMC to grind high level hostiles?
Yeah, I still do.
So they don't work on the high, or Chen doesn't work on the high level hostiles?
I mean, to be quite honest, I don't even think I've checked. I mean, the ships and whatnot are so powerful that you just don't notice much difference. Like, you can tell that when you hit a 50, the power difference between a 49 and a 50, it shouldn't knock your hull down as much as it does. You know what I mean? So, like, it just maybe does twice the damage as it normally would do. But if it's only taking a sliver off every time, it's just very hard to notice. So unless you go scour the battle logs, like, you're not really going to tell.
I see.
You know, I mean, if I can hit 100 hostiles up in level 50 area, instead of maybe before I was able to hit 120 or 130, And most of what's spawning is, 48s and 49s or something like that anyways. It's just really hard to tell.
Oh, hey, speaking of big ships, what happened to I'm never going to get an Intrepid, or not an Intrepid, the other one, the Newton?
The Newton? Yeah, I broke down and got it.
Did you just need the extra power?
Yeah, I just couldn't hang with the Kelvin grinding. I needed the Newton for the more power. It's just much more effective grinding machine than the Kelvin. Kelvin's great for PvP to an extent, and it does grind pretty well, but once you get up to level 50 area, not only that, you want to try and run 2 ships while you're grinding. So, if I'm running whatever ship with PMC, then I need something that has some real girth to it to also grind with in the same system, right? Well, I'm not going to buy the Entei because it's just not impressive enough for how much it costs. Even though I've maxed my Fed rep, all I got to do is bump up to 50 and I could build the Entei, but I'm not going to because the investment's like $5,000 or something. I'm just not going to spend that on one ship. I'm not going to do it. No way.
Tune in 2 months from now when he breaks down and buys the NA.
And you know what? It could happen actually. Yeah.
Just max your ROM rep and get the trib.
Yeah, that could happen. Well, the trib, I think I would probably break down and buy it, but it's going to be a while. Like at least a year. I don't think I'm going to like really go after it. I'm just not that into it.
That's what she said. She's just not that into it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the repair bill on that damn Intrepid?
It's not bad. Like I want to say like 150 mil try and
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought.
Well, no, I mean once you get all that efficiency research done, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I mean if I had none of that research, it'd probably be over 500 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. That night, I don't know, it just like as I keep getting all this efficiency stuff done, it keeps becoming more and more it just becomes a lot easier to run these bigger ships and not worry about the repair costs as much. Like I remember at some point like around level 46 and I didn't have all that research done, 47, 48 or like level 46, level 47 where it was like every time that my Kelvin blew up I was like, "Oh." And like I was running super low on titanium and I had to stop running the ship. I was literally not even using my Kelvin for a while because I couldn't repair it. And then, slowly but surely I got all this efficiency research done. I bought a few packs to get the Newton. Now I'm sitting on a whole bunch of try and it's not a problem anymore.
That's what I was talking about with the Franklin. The rewards with those new with the new minerals. It's not that much when you start talking about G4 ships, but when you jump from doing a G3 epic ship to repairing a tier 5, whatever, tier 4, tier 5 jellyfish, I mean that's like triple, quadruple the cost in titanium. And if you're not prepared for that, it can stack up really quick, especially when you're grinding.
Oh, absolutely. Grinding takes the most resources, big time.
So that's why I'm glad that they started doing that, because it's like now every day, not only can I get a bunch of titanium, but it more than offsets the cost of me running that jellyfish constantly. Because I'm in deep space so often for mining or for doing whatever, grinding, that sometimes I have to jump back into normal space for something, and the jellyfish is the fastest, it goes the furthest. So I pretty much ended up just using that now.
Yeah. And as long as the repair costs are not killing you, then that's what you should run. Run the biggest always run the biggest ship that you can afford to repair. And if you can't afford to repair it, just wait a little while, get some efficiency research done, and just, bide your time a little bit. And before you know it, it won't be an issue anymore. And when you first get a ship or you first tier it up a lot and you're not really ready for it, it can be a little bit of a shocker.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. You know,
But
some
it
of these
all
people,
evens out.
some of these people were complaining about the new Franklin. You know, they're level 35 or 36, and they're like, oh my god, you know, tier 2, and it costs 64 million tritanium for this and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe. And I'm like, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just wait till you get up and start getting into the real G4 stuff.
Yeah. Yep, whole new ball game for sure.
All right, Tech, what else you got?
That's all I got, really. Just wanted to complain about how many fucking things you got to do every day.
That's just what you got to do. You just have to balance it out and just pick one or two things a day, and just knock it out of the park. And that way you don't have to worry about it for another week or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Never try and do everything in one day. Like if you just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that every single day, oh my god, I would go nuts. There's just no way. Can you imagine going and doing one load of data a day and then you go do one run of Borg probes and like one run of this, one run of that? Like that would be miserable. So much bouncing around.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So it's been...
Yeah, you got to stop that, brother. You got to just like if you're gonna like just pick a day and just mine data, just all freaking day. And then you've got a mountain of it, and you can chill for a week or two on mining it and focus on something else. And then go through and do your 9 runs into level 33 area for the Borg probes and just knock all those out in a row. Same thing over and over again. It's a little bit monotonous and it gets a little bit boring, but then you don't have to do it for a week.
Like I said, I just do it when I'm doing something else, like, sitting there watching TV because it's just, like you said, it's just this repetitive stuff. You don't really have to pay attention.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, I try to do that, and all of a sudden I get busy, and then come back to it. I'm like, where the hell are my ships? Like, oh, that's where they are, or they're destroyed because I left them mining. So that just becomes a problem all on its own.
Yeah, totally.
So and that's actually part of the reason is like I can't do, say, an entire week's worth of data in one day because I just don't have the time to sit there and swap out my Botany Bay like 6 times. Would it be 6? I do a full load. I mean, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, like, however long it takes it's like I don't know about for you, but for me it takes about 15 minutes to fill up my cargo.
Oh, no, it's a lot longer for me for that.
It depends on the node.
Well,
most of the time, I don't use those fast nodes. I use the 60K ones or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that way I can just...
I don't use the 3-second nodes. That's crazy. I'm not going to sit there and click on it that whole time.
I do the 60K nodes too, but I only do enough for the day because there's enough dicks out there that go in and
mill
and hit your Botany Bay OPL. And then I'm like, okay, now I got to find that alliance and blow up their ships.
If you move your crew around and put anybody that gives you a higher OPL, like do if you do your crew right, you should have a pretty high OPL. Like put Ston on there or not Ston. Anyway. Yeah, thank you. And just set your crew up for a much higher OPL so that you can do 3 loads before you have to go back home. And then now you've got enough data for a few days.
Right, but it never reaches that point. So I think my max could be like 170 or something. So anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter at that point.
Plenty. That's a lot of loads if you're doing like a 40K node or whatever.
Or 60K. Yeah, I mean, I just usually do like one of those per day. And just
Are you maxed out? Are you maxed out with the what you calls?
Botany Bay?
No, the con one, not Rogue, the other one.
Augment?
Augments.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you don't really need that. You don't really need to spend all that stuff in there. I mean, except for if you're getting independent tokens.
Yeah, I'm
right?
getting independent credits. And since I'm
I mean,
mining data for directives, I mean, it's like, all right, just mine a few a little more every day to get the independent credits and then get...
I tell you, the only thing that I regret in my play strategy is not focusing on getting a bunch of independent credits, because it does get to a point where you're like, shit, like I need more of these, especially with the all the independent officers that they've come out with, and the Borg officers and all that stuff that require the indie credits. You kind of, I look back and I'm like, man, maybe I should have done what all these people were saying and just tried to really get them like they're candy.
Well, and the same thing with the charged nanoprobes, right? You need those for your Borg officers. And I think Jayla, or rather 5 of 10 and 6 of 10 at tier 5, I think it's stupid. It's like 300,000 charged nanoprobes, and you only get like 1,000 a pop a day.
I know. I don't even know how long it's going to take to, probably 3 years to max all these Borg officers. Like, all my Borg officers have a green arrow because I can't level any of them up.
Yeah, same. I have enough.
Joke.
I have enough to bump up either the Borg Jayla or Borg Cross, but...
And I would probably do the Borg Jayla.
Yeah, I'm going to do Borg Jayla. But I don't have enough I don't have enough independent credits. I guess the problem.
Well, that's where the Latinum comes in.
That's where the issue. That's where the kind of me, having to put certain things on the back burner. Like mine is the Borg probes, because at this point I'm trying to focus on other things. So I'm not hitting as many of the nanoprobes, because my Vidar, I think, is maxed out, right? So I don't have to upgrade it anymore. And I have like 60, 70,000 Romulan credits, which are the ones that I'm worried about because I'm working toward the Valdor. But so it's just one of those things where I've just kind of had to put that on the back burner, because now I've just finally saved up enough G4 materials and research credits where I finally got the Prime Stella thing, where it reduces the cost, cuts it in half or whatever. And I finally just got that, so now I'm going to start focusing on the Stella again, because I need to get that so I can get the research, and it just comes right back around to what Tech was saying earlier. It's just overwhelming. It's like there's too much shit going on right now.
Yeah, it really interferes with gameplay, or I guess in my view, it interferes with the ability to enjoy the game.
You know what pisses me off the most about this game lately, more than any of this other bullshit that we have to deal with, is the fucking lag. What the fuck, guys? How much money are we This game is like, what, 10 times more expensive than any other game, and you're telling me that they can't fix the goddamn lag?
It's getting to the point now where every other ship that I try to hit, it resets my screen and it says subspace error, target not found, and then all the ships are in different places.
Well, those are just bugs. Is that the lag or bugs? Like, I don't even know, but
like all of it, because it's like
this game is getting so unstable because of all the crap they've added, and they're not patching it. They're just working on new content and throwing it in the game and not fixing anything. So the game's freaking out and lagging. Like, I don't know if it's server issues or if it's software or what, but they need to fix this fucking lag, man.
If anybody from Scopley hears this, which they probably won't, but if you're listening, I think that you should probably try to focus on enriching what you already have, instead of trying to just make new content for new content's sake. Putting your feet to the fire to release at least new officers or new something every month. That's something that I feel like you guys are too hard on yourselves, because it's unrealistic to expect brand new shit every month. But because you set that precedent, we now expect it. But we expect it to work. That's the caveat. So when it doesn't work, now we hate you and your content. So I think if you would step back and quit making, here's the thing, if you want to make new ships, make new faction ships. Give people an option. Like, okay, instead of having to pick at level 26, you have to pick whichever ship is for that faction. Why don't you give 3 different options? So I can pick to have a battleship at level 26 with the Federation, or an interceptor, or an explorer. You know, I can pick these different things. I can have different, you can have different abilities. If you want to come out with new ships, why don't you come out with miners that aren't so easily destroyed? They could be like slow miners, but at least when people try to attack me, it has a chance and the numbers make sense. You know, why don't you work on something that you already have established and put more variety into it? Instead of working on bringing brand new, completely different factions and races and things like that into the mix, work on what you already freaking have. To create a new ship, it's not like you're going to have to change space like you do when you come out with the Stella, or change space like you do when you have to come out with the Vidar. You can just use the existing map, place a new ship in there, and boom, now we have more content. We have more stuff to work toward. People will be happy. I promise you. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now we're going to have away missions, so we're totally going to be like timelines.
But here's the thing. Now here's going to be the new glitch. I guarantee it. I sent my Nero away on an away mission because he has the highest stats, and now he's lost in space, like the ship lost glitch, and now I'm going to have to spend 3 days waiting for him to come back. You already know it's coming. Hey, I went on this
or better
mission
yet,
for 24 hours.
They'll be done with the away mission, but now you can't put them on your ship anyways.
Exactly. Or, hey, I went and got all these rewards and now they're not showing up. Oh, here's a gift chest. Like, the thing is, what they've done is they've overhyped themselves into a corner, because now we expect this new material every month, and it better damn be good. Yeah. But, you know, it's
They've
okay.
shot themselves on the foot a bit.
Exactly. It's okay to not do this stuff every single month. Or if you want to release a new arc every month, you can do it with something existing that you already have. And the focus is the rewards. You don't have to have new officers every month. You don't have to have a new ship every other month or every 3 months. You
Honestly,
can just...
I think I was happier with the game when we didn't have all this shit, and I had, you know what I mean, the regular shit to worry about.
Well, because at this point, the game does not play how you want it. It's dictated by what all the stuff you have to do. You know, the beauty back in the day is you could go pick a fight with somebody and do a raid and defend and attack, and you could do what you want to do. Go exploring. Now there's not enough time for that.
If you do any of that, you're sacrificing somewhere else.
Right, and then you're staying in place while other people are advancing, and nobody wants to be the weakest person, so everybody else is trying to clamor for advancement. And I get it; it's a marketing tactic to get people to spend money. But at the end of the day, what's up with longevity? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've had 3 people approach me, asking me about the game, and I told them not to even start the game. You just lost 3 customers because I told them not to. And they're like, well, why do you still do it? Well, because I'm invested in it. I've come this far. I kind of have to.
Yeah, same with me. I'm invested, but I would tell anybody not to play this game. A year and a half ago, I would have said it's fun. Play it. Now, nope.
At this point, I do enjoy some aspects, but
I've told many people not to play this game. Like, you know, I tell people to listen to the podcast because, you know, self-promotion. But I tell people if you're new and you want to get into this game, don't even bother. Like, go play Star Trek Legends on Apple Arcade.
Yeah, because once this game sucks you in, they're very good at keeping you sucked in.
Well, it also, people have the problem of saying, look how much time and money I've spent on this game, especially money. I'm going to keep playing it because I've already spent this money. And what am I going to do?
Just play that and the people.
Right. Yeah, the people are the best part.
Absolutely.
But if you've spent a significant amount of cash, you know, bordering on more than $20,000-$30,000, you're not going to say, all right, I'm done. I'm going to delete it. Like, not very many people can detach themselves from that kind of spend and that kind of, you know, all right, we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it down. Like I can walk away from the game, but I'm gonna come back. You know.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be able to quit it with the amount of money that
No.
you spent.
No.
You're not going to say, okay, uninstall, I'm done.
No,
Yeah.
I'll never uninstall this game. I've spent too much goddamn money and time.
Well, there you go. That's my point.
You're right. You're 100% right.
You know, but if you've never started playing the game, don't. Scopley is a bad company. Don't get involved with it.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what's your definition of bad. It's good for money. Good for them.
Yeah, I'm sure they're a great company to work for, but don't play their fucking game.
Anyway.
Well, they only have like 2 companies, right? Or 2 games, rather.
Shit, everybody there's got to be making $1 million a year, right?
Well, there's only 4 people that work there, so I guess so.
Fuck, man. They got to be fucking loaded.
Well, everybody's got a yacht.
Yeah.
That's Copley. Except the one customer service dude that keeps sending out the bot messages.
Right. That dude's got a basement.
Poor Frank.
Poor Frank.
Yeah. Feel sorry for Frank, the one customer service
For
dude.
his stapler. Always looking for his stapler. Poor guy.
And did you notice that every time Frank sends a response, he always says he's a different name, just to pretend that there's more than one person at customer service.
Yeah.
I've seen some outrageous names they send too, and if this is your real name, guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to apologize for the content of what I'm saying. I'm just going to apologize that you have to hear this. But I mean, some of these names, like, I'm not going to lie. I got a message from Axel, and I was like, you 100% were born in the mid '80s. Like, I know you were. I know you were. Your dad had a mullet. Like.
Oh, I got one. I'm looking through my support. I got a message from some guy named Joven.
Joven?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
They just have a random.
I got that one.
They just have a random name generator.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so get this. I complained so much I can't even send them a message.
What? You're just locked out? You've reached your quota?
I'm screenshotting this, right? Because, like, to do it, right, you go to... Right, so you go to to legal and help, and then you go to help FAQ, and then at the top right it says contact us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there. There is no contact us. It just says close at top left.
No.
Yes.
What?
I'm putting this on Discord.
Oh, wow, dude.
They're so sick of hearing from me. They're like, fuck that guy.
They're like, dude, take his fucking rights away. I just can't take it anymore.
I don't want to listen to him. He made fun of Axel.
He made fun of Axel. He's on our
so
shit list.
Here's the people that respond to me. I'll just go through some of the names. They start out normal and then they get weirder and fuck you for, if you think I'm not being multicultural enough. So it starts out with Luke. And the next person that responds to me is Jaden. And the next person responds to me is Charlie. Then Matthew. Then Price. Then Price. Then Arisette. And then who's the next person? Kareem. Oh, good. I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar doing my support.
Awesome.
And then I got. We come back to Leon. And then next person is Joven. And then we've got Ethan, and that's it.
I've gotten a response from Joven. I have gotten a response. Yes, I remember it because I remember looking at that name and I was like, "What an interesting handle."
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's just a random name generator.
It has to be. Or they just change it every week or two,
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's got to be something like that.
Next thing you know, like I honestly haven't written to customer support because in a long time because they don't do anything. I'm sorry, they're completely useless in this game. You go to any other game in the world and you write to customer support and you get either a detailed answer or you get some sort of personal communication where something happens. I'm sure there are the games that really suck that nobody plays where customer support sucks, but for a game this popular, it's just the generic. Hi, my name is insert name. I've noticed that you've been experiencing some key issues. Please refer to our website for any kind of support problems. And then and then they respond like 4 days later. I don't think I got to that's why I stopped contacting customer service because the last time it took like 4 days to respond.
Or how about this? You ask a question, like I'll be like, hey, there was a glitch and I didn't get the rewards for this and it's not here. Here are the screenshots for it. And then you wait, and then like a week later you get a response that says, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while, so we went ahead and closed this ticket out. And then they're like, if it wasn't solved, you can reopen the ticket. And they were like, and then you're like, okay, so you reopen a ticket and you're like, hey, you guys never solved this problem. And they're like, could you please provide screenshots? And I'm like, just scroll up. Like, they're there. And then you reply to that and you're like, yeah, I already sent them. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll look into it. And then you're like, okay, cool, they'll look into it. And then a week later, hey, we haven't heard from you in a week, so we went ahead and closed out your ticket.
God.
Like, I just like, I don't even remember what I didn't get anymore. Just fuck it, let's go. Like,
yeah.
I keep telling the story about how when I used to play Timelines, there was one of the PvP events that you're supposed to play at least once every 2 weeks, or you lose your rank. And if you lose your rank, you miss out on the ship blueprints, I think. And I emailed them and I'm like, hey, what's going on? I was like, number 3,000, and now I'm not even ranked anymore. What gives? And the support staff was really nice. They're like, look, guy, if you read it right here, it says that you got to participate at least once every 2 weeks. But here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm just going to give you all the credits you need to play the event again to get to your original spot. So they gave me, and you only get like 10 credits per day, and he gave me like 300. So basically, at the end of those 300, I got back to my original spot. That was very nice of them.
Their customer service is great. It's like you won't even know there's an issue. They'll be like, hey, we know that there was an issue where Jim in accounting farted, and we're sorry that if that offended anyone, even though you didn't know it existed. Here's 100 chronotons. And you're like, thanks, man. Or, hey, there was an issue where you guys couldn't log in for 37.8 seconds. Here's a whole new ship. We're sorry. Please don't murder us in our sleep.
Yeah, the Scopley way is to just hide their identities. and to hire private security for their yacht.
Have you ever seen? Did you ever see? There was a credit card commercial, and they were talking about you need to go with someone more reliable, or it was like insurance or something. And like, so the guy was like, I'm gonna call customer service, and he calls, and it's like some dude in Russia, and he picks up the phone. He's like, thank you for calling. What seems to be problem? And he's like in his mom's house, and she's in the kitchen cooking. I feel like that's scope customer support. It's a guy on a laptop, and he's running Windows 98, and he's got a flip phone.
Yeah.
And he's got like one of those trucker headsets, and he's trying to handle business, man. But anyway, I digress.
You digress, yeah. I do love that where it's like Scopley releases content, and it's all borked for the first 24 hours anyway. And then, the content creators get together and they call Scopley and like, dude, these are the issues we're experiencing. And Scopley goes, we know what the problems are. We can fix them. And then, and then they get fixed like, 24 to 48 hours later. Oh, by the way, here's a few packs that you can buy to get your points back.
Yeah. Fuck.
I'm like, wait a minute, you fucked up the update, and now you're telling us to go buy packs so we get our rewards that we want. And then they're like, oh, here's your compensation chest, 300 tritanium.
Jesus.
It's like, I've always said that, unfortunately, Scopley's biggest moneymaker is bugs. Like, they put out new content, and there's a whole bunch of bugs, and so people try to buy stuff to overcome the bugs. And so there's no real incentive for them to fix it. People are going to spend money to try and fix the bugs.
Yep.
And that, that just goes back to my earlier point. The only way that we as a community can show Scopley something different is to, stop spending and stop participating in events. And that will, once it gets down to their bottom line, that's the only way to really, change their mentality.
Absolutely. I don't know, maybe we can reach out to some of the big content creators, some of the really big ones, and just try and organize like a strike.
Well, Jansen did a 30-day strike, 30-day no spending strike. So I think he needs to pull it out again. Actually, he's not even playing Fleet Command anymore. He's playing Star Trek Online and Star Trek Legends.
Really?
Yeah. All right, gang. I think that's all I got. You guys got anything?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
No.
All right. Well, Kirk, it's been awesome having you back, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for coming.
Handy, my name's still on the show, you dick.
I'll get it replaced soon. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Handy put in a petition. Just like Scopley, I'll get back to it sometime later.
Yeah.
Handy, we haven't heard from you in 7 days, so we went ahead and closed out.
Awesome. That's good.
This is fun. All right, guys. This has been Trek Talk with Tech and Kirk. I'm TechMan16.
And Handy.
I'm still here, fuckers.
I'll see you guys next time.